UndergroundVideoNetwork.com presents the We Talk Too Much podcast.
This is where the fun begins.
Comic books, superheroes, sci-fi, gaming, and everything nerdy.
That's it. This is just too weird.
Now, here's your host of the We Talk Too Much podcast, Mike and Richard.
Hey everyone, hopefully you're all still there. It has been a minute since I'm gonna take my glasses off. That's glare. Not as though my head doesn't give off enough glare, but yeah, it's been a little while since me and Richard. That seems to be the opening for our show anymore. It's like, hey, we haven't gotten a chance to talk too much.
Which year is it? Oh.
I know. Wait a minute, you are absolutely right. This is the first. Welcome to the first episode of 2025. Yes, the apocalypse hasn't quite struck yet. We are still here, but again, it seems like even though it's so much easier for me and Richard to be able to do this, when life decides, no, bro, you've got other stuff to do tonight. You can't fight it, you know. Rich, how have you been?
Working and getting things around.
How is work going? I see one of the things that you've been busy with is your work at the newspaper.
Yeah, a lot. It was basketball season. It was pretty hectic there. I was doing like games every other day, it seemed like.
Yeah. And the irony is not lost on me. You are foregoing being able to do a nerdy podcast for sports. For sports, Richard, how dare you?
Basketball is cool though.
Well, I tease. I occasionally
it's March Madness now. Come on, I got a game to go to tomorrow, but I'm not working it. I'm actually got my season ticket. Go Buckeyes!
But no, Richard, it's been a busy. Normally this is the part where I say it's been a busy few weeks, but it's been a busy few months for the both of us.
Yeah, I don't think we've done one since like November of last year.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, I feel like we have missed so much. We were half tempted to change the name of the podcast from "We Talk Too Much" into "We Hardly Get to Talk at All Anymore." What was it? A barely we see each other podcast, but
it's a yearly now. No,
I know. Yeah, bi-monthly. Not even that, but yeah, there's so much to get caught up on. It's like overwhelming. Where it's just like, where do we even start? One thing I do want to talk about, Rich, that we haven't gotten to talk about since the last time we. I know we're behind, so we're not even going to say anything about spoilers. Doctor Who.
No.
That Christmas special.
Oh.
I gotta tell, man, I love Nshute Gatwa. I was worried when Millie left, but it was a great little cameo she made in that episode. Showed that she was, still there.
It's a nice bridge episode.
Yes. And it was one of those episodes. One of the great things about Doctor Who is that for people like me, I consider myself an Anglophile. Big word. I like British stuff. But it's introduced me to so much talent that I wasn't aware of, because of that show. Greg Davies, who played River Song's husband in the big mech suit from the Husbands of River Song. I'm like, that guy looks cool. I wonder what else he's been in. A bunch, he's a great stand-up comedian. He's had a half a dozen shows. I went down that rabbit hole. But I knew going into it, I wasn't aware of her. And I forgive me for not remembering the actress's name. Guess what? If you haven't watched the show for a while, we don't do research. But the lovely and talented young actress, I shouldn't say young, well, to me, I'm old. Look. Who played opposite Nshute Gatwa in this episode. very famous from Bridgerton, and Derby Girls. Is another one of those ones where, hey, I really like her. I wonder what else she's been in. Again, a lot. But she was so good. And it was one of those episodes where again, it's literally been almost a year, so spoilers. When she became that star and it turned out that she was the North Star.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great touch because if you're a fan of Doctor Who like I am, you'll remember previously, I can't remember if it was, I'm pretty sure it was David or it might have been Matt that made the comment that, Christmas Day, he was there. And the fact that, years later, he was there. So brilliant. Absolutely loved it. The other thing that we're starting to see a couple new trailers, a couple new teasers of the new season coming up, which looks so good.
Yeah.
The one thing I did get to see, I had to go to a lot of back channels to, was the BBC Doctor Who at the Proms. Which if you are a fan of the music of Doctor Who, I highly recommend. You could probably I know you can find older ones on YouTube, like full, beautiful quality. I highly recommend checking those out. But
I've been catching up on some older Doctor Who's myself on Pluto TV.
Same here. Yep.
Because I know they had the 2 Doctor episode with the crossover between the second Doctor and the 8th Doctor, 7th Doctor? 7th, right?
I can see them in my head.
Yeah, it's the second Doctor for sure, and I think it was the 7th. But it was a neat little crossover because I never saw that before,
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd kind of quit watching after like the 5th Doctor. I didn't watch too much. So the 6th, 7th, I didn't really see as many. So it's kind of on Pluto TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Love Pluto TV, but sometimes you are a kind of a slave to what's available.
Well, it's on demand too if you click on the channel. But yeah, like you said, you can just turn in the live at 2 a.m. and like, oh, this is different.
Yeah. No, and I've done this before, Richard. I swear I've done that where late at night I turn on an episode because it's like I know I'm going to be falling asleep. I have to have something on in the background. It's Mystery Science Theater 3000. I don't know why. The show's not boring, but that show is such a comfort to me. If I cannot sleep, I put that on and I'm out. And a lot of times I'll fall asleep during Joel, and all of a sudden it's Jonah. I'm like, how long was I out for? But I've done that with Doctor Who, and you want to talk about a bad show to fall asleep during because it'll be the 4th Doctor, and next thing I know is Sylvester McCoy. I'm like, how long was I out?
I missed that regeneration. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, they don't quite go in order. They kind of skip around on Pluto. So,
real quick, Doctor Who related. David Tennant recently hosted the BAFTAs. If you get a chance, there's clips you can find on the BBC. You can find the clips on YouTube. Dude, he opened the show. This is why I adore David Tennant. He opened the BAFTA Awards ceremony singing the Proclaimers' 500 Miles while wearing a kilt, walking through the crowd, calling out. I don't say calling out, but including Selena Gomez. If I would walk 500 miles just to be the man next to Selena Gomez. It was so damn adorable. I love that so much. But yes, look up 2025's BAFTA Awards. Brilliant. What else? Oh, God, we've missed so much. Instead of trying to get caught up on everything that we've missed, something up to date. Daredevil, Born Again.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we are fully invested in the MCU now with Daredevil. There's no ands ifs, no just being a great cameo. We are in the MCU.
Yeah, it's definitely the Netflix stuff is now all canon basically. So
Yeah. There is one beef, Rich. I got to get it off my chest real quick. I love that we're getting new Daredevil. We are what? I'm caught up, but we're what, 4 or 5 episodes in?
yeah, I think that's what we something like
4 or
that.
5 in.
Because they had like 2 at the first day of release. So.
Yes. Yeah, that's why it's hard for me. I see 2 as 1. But yeah, we're so many episodes in. We are going to see more Daredevil, right? You know,
Oops, sorry. I hit a wrong button.
Woo! Boy, howdy. Man, I felt your heart jump because, let's be honest, Richard, we're grown men. We don't
I knew what it was. I was going to preview the comic I've been working on.
listening and not viewing Richard's desktop with Photoshop of his his current brilliant work on his Comic Zoo.
Yeah, it's the new Cosmic Zoo Tales, and it's featuring my Action Ant collection. I don't know. Some of you might know. There was a few years ago I did a comics was called Action Ant. Then I was going to do a full pager, which never got shown, and then another one, an anti-smoking one, where the ants talk about human smoking.
Did you say ants? You are coming to the right man. No, I am fully. I cannot wait to see the finish of that.
Yeah, it's. I'll just like. Sorry to interrupt our Daredevil talk, but I didn't mean to share that yet.
Boy, I hate to tell you what would happen if I'm smart enough to close everything out, but no, Daredevil. No, here's my only complaint. I love the story. I really do. I am fully invested. But from an outsider point of view, there are a lot of people might not have gotten to watch it on Netflix.
Yeah.
So
like me, I don't have Netflix anymore. So
right. Yeah. So it's not a matter of history that, oh, you need to get caught up. You really don't. But the thing is, though, you're coming into Disney is presenting Daredevil to a new audience. I think you might want to show more Daredevil.
Yeah, I think I think they're dragging their feet a little bit because they want to get the whole background story kind of reintroduced, you know.
But they're not, though. This is a whole new story. This isn't backstory. This is a new story. And don't get me wrong, I am enjoying it. I really am. But the problem is for new viewers, they want to see Matt. They want to see Daredevil, not Matt Murdock, attorney at law, exclusively.
Yeah.
Now, people out there are gonna give me hell for this, but look, She-Hulk, which I will plant my flag, was a good show. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. If you know the comic book and you know the character, that show was dead nuts.
Yeah.
That show was true to the character. But even it had superhero law balance.
Right.
Look at it this way. I'm wearing a shirt. Superman and Lois was a perfect show because it was a great balance with Clark, Lois, and the family, and Superman. You got both of them beautifully. Daredevil just seems to be leaning towards the Matt Murdock SVU, Law and Order.
Well, he gave up being Daredevil after Froggy was killed.
Yes.
So I knew we had to go at least 1 or 2 episodes with him still not being Daredevil and finding a way to get back to being Daredevil again. And then introducing, White Tiger was a neat little twist.
That was awesome.
Now, how I think his daughter will probably pick up the mantle, right? Spoilers.
No, you saw it too. Thank you.
Because that's what happens in the comic book. Because it's the female version of it was the daughter, wasn't in the 70s?
It was the daughter.
Yeah.
But I think when they showed the family, the daughter was still an infant. She was.
No, it's that girl that came up and talked to.
No, his niece in the show.
Niece. Yeah, the niece. That's right. Niece
in the show, his daughter, because his daughter was too young.
That's right.
I like that.
Well, you can have a new street level of, defenders, a younger version.
Really neat about it, Richard, was from a comic book fan point of view, they acknowledged but didn't go overboard with the concept that the amulet literally gave him powers.
Right.
It just seemed commonplace.
Yeah.
In their universe.
Yeah.
Which I was all for. I mean, you would think in a universe with, aliens flying overhead and She-Hulk, like they barely even acknowledged it. They put it into, evidence A and then bagged it and tagged it, Would you think if S.H.I.E.L.D. was still around, they would have been the ones like, okay, we don't have anything to do with the trial, but we're going to need that amulet.
Right. But that's not...
S.H.I.E.L.D. would have snagged that in a New York minute.
Yeah, and like I said, now the world is just saturated. I think the MCU, it's just gotten so big, and I think they're trying to scale some things where just everything just is normal now.
Yeah.
You have alien invasion; it's normal now.
And even Wilson Fisk mentions, we've got Daredevils and we've got Punishers and we got that Spider guy, Nice. That was a nice touch. Again, acknowledge, but don't make a huge thing of it. Like you said, it's commonplace now.
Yeah, and I think that's because I know they're already starting season 2. I know we're looking ahead a little bit, but they're bringing back some of the other Defenders, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I hope they can get everybody and kind of show that street level Avengers type situation, and then maybe even with Kingpin moving into Spider-Man territory.
Yeah. And again, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin.
Oh, yeah.
He is so...
And the actress that plays his wife is just
Vanessa
on too,
That whole relate. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say spoilers because we are going to talk a little bit about the most current episode, which, hey, we're up to date on this one.
Yeah.
Without giving too much spoilers, the whole thing with the guy that Vanessa did have the affair with.
Oh.
Dude. That was the kingpiniest Kingpin thing that the Kingpin has done yet. That was perfect.
Now, are we going to see Echo by the end of this series, or is she just going to stay in the background? Because I kind of don't want to see her. You know what I'm saying? In a way,
I don't know. Just because Disney does have a bad habit. Again, they're doing the same thing with She-Hulk. If the masses don't like it, they're completely writing it off.
Yeah.
Which is a damn shame. But I have a feeling that's the way it's going to go. But at least with She-Hulk, a crossover, not that it doesn't make sense, but it would be forced because they are on, two opposite sides of the continent.
Oh yeah, that works out.
So that works out, but it might also play in with Echo that, hey, it's a big damn United States,
Yeah. Well, the Kingpin story evolved out of Echo.
Yeah.
But with him running for mayor, because that's where he got the idea in the end of the Echo there. So that's why I'm hoping it just kind of ties and then it moves into Spider-Man. I really do. Yeah. I really hope Spider-Man 4 picks up a lot of this.
I really do too, because there is a lot of potential. I mean, there are a lot of the MCU superheroes still around. And okay, the best example I can think of right now, Hawkeye is still around. Wilson Fisk just got elected mayor in New York. I would really like to see that reaction video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, I know he's not living in New York, but we don't know what's going on with Kate. I believe she's probably still living in New York. But again, I think Clint might throw up a couple red flags to some locals in New York. I would bet dollars to donuts after Endgame, he's probably got at least. Ooh, no, I'm wrong. I forgot all about. Everybody forgot who Spider-Man was. Never mind. Yep. I was going to say, it's like, hey, Peter.
Yeah. No, everybody forgot.
Do that no more. Okay.
I'll bet Wong. Wong still knows he's Peter Parker. So.
Yeah, and Doc Strange.
Yeah.
You can't tell me again. I understand that they've got bigger fish to fry, but they live in New York.
Stop talking about the namer that way. Oh. At least we're getting Fantastic Four in a few months.
Dude, I can't wait. I can't.
Talk about New York, that's the essential beginnings of New York superheroes.
Just the snippets and stills I've seen, and I like the way they're doing it. It does leave a couple plot holes about they're going to have taken place in the MCU, but what was it, the 50s?
50s, yeah. Into the 60s, I think, yeah.
I'm all for. I always thought that the Fantastic Four, love them. But a lot of they just seem to fit better in the 50s, especially when you think about what the 50s thought about the future.
Oh yeah, it was all that retro stuff. Yeah,
yes.
like the original issues of Fantastic Four. I mean, I grew up with that because my dad had all that stuff, and it was just crazy to be able to read all that back then.
I love the idea of them taking place in the 50s. Now, whether or not through some wibbly wobbly, what have you,
multiverse.
Yeah. Well, we've seen a proper Galactus.
Yeah, Shadow.
Shadow, but at least it's not a cloud. You know.
And Silver Surfer a little bit there,
But it makes you wonder if the main story is going to be within the main MCU, because you think the Fantastic Four and a large planet-eating deity might be covered at least in high school.
Yeah, but the Celestial sitting in the ocean for how many months,
Oh, F that plot device.
It makes sense, dude. Captain America made it all make sense. I know you haven't quite seen that yet, but it really, Captain America is like another, how I want to say, a bridge movie where it kind of connects a lot of the past to what's going to happen next. So,
and we'll get back to Daredevil, but no, as of this recording, I have not gotten to see Captain America: Brave New World at the theater. Not for not wanting to. Long story short, nobody else needs to know. I told Richard a little bit about it. A few weeks ago, I was in a little bit of an accident. I messed my back up, had a concussion. I'm fine and kicking, but the last couple of weekends, it's been ibuprofen and pain muscle relaxer. So, taking off and going to the movie theater it's sitting even in a great movie theater like the one I go to. It just hasn't been in the cards. So no, sadly I haven't gotten to see it yet. Believe me, we would be talking more about it. Richard, spoiler-free review. Tell your friend Mike what you thought of Captain America.
I know, like, a lot of people really thought it was kind of weak, and almost weaker than the Ant-Man Quantumania. But
you watch your damn mouth.
That's what the critics are saying.
No, I think
that's what the critics are saying.
me and Alex talked about that just today. Side note: was Ant-Man Quantumania a good movie? No. For me, was it a good movie that rules? I'm giving a plug to a podcast I listen to now. Was it a good movie that rules? For me, yes. Moving on.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying about the Fantastic Four being the past, you have Ant-Man and Wasp from the past too that could catch up with Fantastic Four. I mean,
oh, that's dope.
Because we really didn't know nothing about them until we started getting into the Ant-Man movies. So they were around. So maybe Fantastic Four did take place in the 60s.
And I get that. The only thing is I would compare is the Fantastic Four has always been a very public team.
Yeah,
that was their crux. But
yeah, we had the Baxter Building, then you had the flares shoot up and the big four in the sky.
But Hank and Janet were more covert.
Yeah.
So,
technically they were working for S.H.I.E.L.D., way back and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But no, like I said, Captain America kind of. I like Sam Wilson as Captain America. I do too. We talk about the S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff, but what he did in this movie made sense. That's what I want to say. It really, and some of the elements they picked up goes all the way back to Incredible Hulk. Because I know I watched it before I went to see this, make sure it was all fresh in my mind. And it really does make sense what they did because they kind of tied things together and they're setting up for the new Avenger movies, basically.
Great.
And like I said, it's hard right now with Marvel or with what Disney's doing with Marvel because they're scaling things back at the same time trying to move forward.
Yeah.
And they're just not going all out as much as they could have because things got weak because of that, I think. So hopefully by scaling back, it'll help making the product better,
Yeah. And I agree because you're going to have that big of a budget. One of the things I shouldn't say I like watching, but I seem to find myself is YouTube videos where it's just like, this was made in the early 2000s, and this goes across all movies. All movies. Transformers is another spectacular example, but when you look at what they were doing in the early aughts, oh my god, the early 2000s compared to what they're shelling out now. Like, how has the technology gotten better, but it's also made everything look worse?
Well, yeah, I think it's some that Disney is because, they keep remaking everything live action with CG, AI created crap. Oh,
yeah.
Even though I have mixed feeling about AI right at the moment because I know that kind of hurt me trying to get into a master's program because I was trying to get into a digital art program and they're really moving into the AI direction. And I'm kind of still standing on the anti-AI side. So I know that hurt my whole getting into it, So I see like what they're doing. And it's just like the, I'm going blank. The animated movie that won the Oscars this year was made with Blender. It's on Hulu, right? Yeah.
Flow.
Yeah, Flow. It's on Prime, right? It's on one of the streamings right now.
The one with the black cat.
Yes. That's why everybody's adopting black cats now. But yeah, it's like the guys made it using Blender. I mean, I've used Blender,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had some animated pieces shown, I mean, I like the 2D format mixed in with my glitchy stuff. If you ever seen any of my art and my animated, that's what I like to do. But the AI animated stuff is just becoming more and more. And I know the art world is divided right down the center on this. People like it, people hate it. There's no in between, and
Nope.
I'm having a real hard time staying in between. So I'm going to have to make up my line before next year's applications start for master's program, because I know that's really, really what hurt me this year.
Yeah. And then the damn statement has to come down to something like that.
Yeah. So what is going to happen with Marvel? I mean, Marvel, or Disney, I should say, are they going to see this as a cheap way to start knocking off their properties? I mean, I know what I forgot to ask you. Did you watch the Spider-Man animated, the new one?
No, not yet.
That was different.
I've heard. I was kind of on the fence about it, and it was one of those ones where, I'm not going to lie to you, I completely forgot about it.
It's like 8 episodes. I just watched them all in like a Saturday morning, like in 3 weeks. I just sat because I do a lot of my work. I'm in a computer posting for the newspaper and stuff. So I just always have something on the background, and it's like, oh, these are neat. And I was watching, and the animation is very old school, and the concept was like re-envisioning Spider-Man for a modern world, and they really accomplished that. And taking a lot of the villains and stuff and reinterpreting them with a modern day setting. And I really enjoyed it. And it's Peter Parker, but that's what, and Daredevil, spoiler. Did you notice Officer Morales was mentioned?
Yes, I did. That's the thing about Marvel. They still, when they hit hard. You know what I mean? Even with the subtle little things. They're so much better at subtle than they are blatant. When they try to do stuff blatant, like, hey, we're going to focus everything on Matt Murdock. Okay, great. Okay. But when they nail those little details, spot on. Yeah. Now, I got to ask you, Richard, with Daredevil, seeing Foggy and Karen, do you see that as a plot device, or was that more of a company shift where it was just like, okay, well, you're not on Netflix anymore, so we're going to have to let you guys go?
It's probably that. But at the same time, in the storyline, anybody reads the comics, Frog was killed off technically, but was in FBI witness protection. So they have that to fall back on, But I think it was a downsizing the cast, so they didn't have to pay to have those extras in the series, and they were trying to introduce his new girlfriend, the psychologist for, Kingpin.
Yeah, again, talk about comic book logic. Yeah, all the people that he could have hooked up with, that he was set up with.
No, sorry, I looked away for a second. You'll never believe this. My bracket in the men's basketball, I'm like in top of my group that I'm in for at our newspaper, and that's beating 2 sports editors.
Nerds shall rule.
I know my basketball.
Just story-wise, it made sense, but you can't help, because you love and respect those characters. It did kind of feel like a slap in the face. It's like literally out with the old, in with the new.
But they brought Frank back, though.
They did, and goddamn, that was such a good moment between the two of them. Oh man! Again, look. I am not dissing Matt Murdock. I'm not. That exchange between him and Frank, dude, that was next level drama, because Charlie Cox was able, when he bitch slapped Frank, but the instant oh man, that was so good. That was acting. That was And then Frank's response, like, "Why are you apologizing? That's the most honest thing you've said to me, Red." Oh, that made it worth it. That was like 4 episodes deep worth. That was, oh. And that whole shit, you still hear him, don't you? You hear, oh, God. And Frank, I still hear my son, "Get him, Daddy." Like, oh my God. That was crazy.
Like I said, I think this is going to set it up for the return of like all that part of the Marvel universe, you know.
Yeah, and that last episode that we got, which again was brilliantly shot, when it was the back and forth between whoever this masked bad guy or bad person, we don't know, but when they show Matt, I think we saw him, that dream he was having of Wilson. I think that was his snapping point. When he goes up to the roof, when he goes to the Daredevil cave. I'm sorry, no, I give him no. It had to have, you know, his room. But when he got his kit out, when he got the nunchucks, or, you know what?
Yeah.
But it was when we saw him going through the moves on the rooftop. Oh, okay, that's how you end an episode, because that alone, it was like, okay, when's the next week coming?
Yeah, it's Daredevil's back. You know,
Yeah.
it just seemed like you said it took a little time, a little more than it should have been. I think it was one too many episodes dragging.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just feel this is moving us in that direction. Then of course we have Thunderbolts coming out in May,
which I am ridiculously excited for that one. And for anyone out there, for whatever reason, that was complaining about Sam picking up Captain America's mantle and it should have been Bucky. No. Thunderbolts is going to show you why it wouldn't have worked yet.
Yeah, definitely. And if you saw Captain America, you'll understand why it didn't work either. That's really, all I'm going to say.
I'm here for it. I am here for it. Bucky's run in the comic books, Bucky's run as Captain America was one of my favorites. Hell, I was reading it more hardcore than pre Steve Rogers' death. I mean, I regularly read it, but man, his run was great. But he still works better as Bucky Barnes. You know, in the shadows.
Yeah, it makes sense. I just keeping it a spoiler free. I can't say anything right now. What's going on? And Thunderbolts trailer was really intense, and you get to see, you know, and you know that's Sentry. They're not giving it. They're basically saying that's, you know, Bob. You know,
that's Bob. Yeah. Oh,
so that's going to be a fun weekend, because you know that's Free Comic Book Day weekend when it comes out. It's the weekend I have popcorn, and
dude, I'm telling you, I'm trying to keep the camera down at a lower angle. It's been a rough few months with Halloween and Thanksgiving, and I'm just, you know, but the more and more I see of David Harborough as Red Guardian, dude, I'm like, Richard, you'll appreciate this. We had it, me and the Heroes for Hope, because it's been a while since you got to talk. We did an event not too long ago. I think it might have been just before Christmas. I put on the Ant-Man suit, hadn't worn it in a while, and I'm going to tell you, the night before, I was a little nervous. I was just like, it's been a minute since I wore this suit. And the first thing I thought when I finally got it zipped up, it wasn't bad. I haven't, you know, but the first thing I thought, and it was nobody around, this was purely for myself, I walked right in front of the mirror and went, Steel Beats. I was just...
Yeah, I just watched Black Widow again the other day. You know, it was because I wanted to reiterate something in my head from Captain America that might be from in there, or the Thunderbolts, you know, combination. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, because I'm black. The White Widow is just ultimate to me. You know.
Oh, yeah. Which seeing seeing her in Thunderbolt, I still have my fingers crossed. Well, by the time they do it, they might not be young anymore. But first of all, I need more White Widow and Kate Bishop's Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Dude, the chemistry between the two of them was undeniable. They played off each other so well. It was a crime that we haven't gotten more. And I'm really hoping with them putting that character more front and center, that we get more of that.
But wasn't the Hawkeye one the ones that they put on hold right now?
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with Jeremy Renner's accident.
Okay, yeah.
Because,
well, he seems okay. I've seen
yeah. But at the time,
yeah,
right. But at the time, it was any. I have a feeling that, not to sound harsh, but any talks about a second season of a second season of Hawkeye was probably shelved right then and there.
But
respectfully so.
Yeah. Like I said, we have Thunderbolts though. That'll give us our little more bridge between that before the Avengers come out. So then they'll hit, with all this. Even though they don't have Kang, they'll have Doom. So,
which I'm really interested. The more and more we see, I almost don't want to know. It's going to be impossible to be spoiler free, but figuring out whether or not how Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is going to be portrayed. Is it going to be Tony Stark that becomes Doctor Doom, or is he going to be Victor Von Doom? Is Doctor Doom going to be a version of Tony Stark, or is Robert Downey Jr. going to be a variant or
right, or some kind of Freaky Friday mind swap type thing? Yeah. I really would hope this is what I really would love to see. They just don't say why he looks like him.
I'm all for it. And here's the other thing too, especially with Doctor Doom. Give me a 5-minute flashback of him and Reed in college or whatever. Yeah. And that's the last we see.
Yeah. Well, there's been so many incarnations. There was one incarnation of Doom where he was never really disfigured. He had a scar.
Yep, I remember that.
And he just put the mask on because the scar just drove him, so he
it was pride.
Yeah. And
it was pride.
I could just see them doing that with Downey's Doom, where there's nothing really, or because he looks like Stark, he wears the mask.
Or because he is Tony Stark, but doesn't want to let the world know he's Tony Stark. Yeah. Again, all speculation, which is why this is good. This is what I like about. This is what I missed about Marvel movies. Getting a little taste of something and spending the next 3 months proving all the ways we're going to be wrong.
Except how many? Is that next? They started shooting that, right? The first one, those two.
Yes.
Or they're about ready. They're either about ready to, or they have started. I'm not 100%. They're close, right?
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're doing it the right way, and they're going Lord of the Rings, where they're filming them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and we'll see you in 6 months, and we'll pick up. No.
Yeah, because this is the Russo brothers doing this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think they want to get these out there like pretty quick. They want, because I think what they think is Marvel's hurting. They just want to get something big
No. I agree with that. I agree with that. No. I agree with that.
I mean, yeah, they had, Deadpool Wolverine last year, which helped them some, but
yeah. But I still think that most comic book fans, maybe not the general audience, still see a separation between Deadpool and the MCU.
yeah,
There's mentions and nods, but even though it's not now, it's regardless of who owns what, for the time being, until we see Daredevil with Bucky, there's always going to be that line of separation.
Yeah, but I think it's broken down now because they say all the multiverse, and if they're doing this quote secret war, they're probably going to do it like the last Secret War, and everything just gets blended together, and they come out with a new MCU.
Yeah,
I just have a feeling that's what they're. I think that's why they're pushing, because I think they need their crisis to put everything back into perspective.
Yeah,
because I think they went in the wrong direction. They just went too much, and the normal people didn't understand that. Some little kid off the streets going, "Why is there so many different Spider-Mans in this movie?" They got really confused.
Yeah, and your average moviegoer, like, I want to see Captain America, I want to see Iron Man, I want to see Thor. Endgame was great. Sorry, but who's Echo? Don't care.
Right.
Ignore. That's where you're right. They tried to make it too broad. Like, oh, it'll really work? Let's bring in some characters that nobody's ever heard of because it worked for the Guardians of the Galaxy, but we'll put it as a mini series.
Yeah.
On Tuesday nights. Didn't work.
Yeah, and as much as Guardians did work, you just can't do that sometimes. It's who's making the product and stuff,
Yeah.
But I still think Thunderbolts will probably work. I don't know.
I do too. I really do. I am super hopeful for Thunderbolts.
Yeah, because like I said, when I rewatched the Black Widow movie, I saw those little bits and pieces where they were already getting ready to form something else. It really seemed like it, but you knew, Natasha Black Widow did die. We already knew that when that came out, and she's never coming back because she's specifically said she's never coming back.
Yeah.
So they're not going to do a quick switcheroo, even though I'm hoping for Scarlet Witch, but
Yeah.
And this Vision Quest, I hope they do finish that,
I know, no kidding. Now, let me ask you your opinion on this. The MCU's Black Widow's not coming back, but there is a multiverse,
right?
I still wouldn't mind seeing Scarlett Johansson come back. Right. I'm sure
but I don't think she wants to, and I don't think Marvel's going to risk hiring another actor to play Black Widow. I know they did it with Thunderbolt Ross, and everything, but I just don't see that working.
No, and at least in this case, with White Widow, we have somebody to pick up the mantle.
Right, yeah, and it really worked because they.
Yes.
I really enjoyed what they did with that whole concept where they were like surrogate sisters, and they grew up together, and they were both taken away by the Russian government and dropped in the Black Widow program and all this stuff. It has that whole spy feel from the 60s that I really enjoyed, even though it was set in the 80s,
Right. But no, that still worked.
But my ultimate, I would always love to see in back in my head is you go back to the 70s, you have Daredevil, Black Widow together. Those issues I grew up on, and I really enjoyed the two of them together back in that time frame.
Yeah.
Even though I knew they weren't like husband, wife, I knew what was going on. I mean, I was little when that was going on, so, but I always enjoyed Black Widow being this secret agent with Daredevil, because they kind of went off and had a little more super villainish villains and stuff, you know, and they were tied in with like Hydra and stuff like that. So, you know.
Yeah.
But that's my Daredevil. That's what I grew up with. So
yeah, it was kind of like Black Widow brought him into the espionage.
Yeah, there was that whole time frame when they did that, and there was all types of crossovers because you had Marvel team up and stuff like that. So
yeah,
but yeah, the Marvel I think is hopefully going to rebound, maybe.
And speaking of things to look forward to, hoping to do a rebound, Superman.
Oh yeah, that's coming.
And again, kind of like what we said about She-Hulk, any of you Guy Gardner naysayers can go sit and spin, because that's my boy. That is Guy Gardner. And Nathan Fillion himself has come out and said, oh, he's going to be a dick. He is going to be a jerk. He is going to be there to prove that you don't have to be a nice guy to be a good guy. And I'm here for it. But I am, dude, look at the shirt. I am very looking, I'm super, oh my God, that pun, I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody listening. I am really looking forward to that, of course. Going into it with an open mind. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, I refuse to look at anything. I absolutely refuse to go down the comment section rabbit hole, because the first time I read something bad about crypto, I'm like, I will pull a Jay and Silent Bob, and I will fly to find that commenter. And like, we do not badmouth crypto in this household. But it'll be very interesting, because it'll be a very new, fresh take for Superman, because Gunn came right out and said, this is not an origin story. We know who Superman is. That's done.
Right.
I think they've alluded that in the one production still that's, I wouldn't say leaked, but they released with the droid who everybody firmly believes is Telex, which was a tie to his Kryptonian heritage. We might see a flashback of, maybe his mom and dad, or you know what I mean? Just a flashback.
Right.
But not an origin story. Not a... No. We're moving forward with this Superman.
Yeah, and they got to relaunch a little bit and kind of bring themselves away from the Snyderverse and stuff, Yeah. I mean, hopefully James Gunn and then the other guy can make DC stuff work, Did you watch Creature Commandos?
I did. That was so good. Holy smoke. Creature Commandos was awesome. And spoilers, I was so pissed off about Mina.
No.
Oh, that one hurt. That one upset me. But did absolutely, again, Harborough as Frankenstein's monster, just a complete God. Only Gunn could have done that. Only Gunn could have made Frankenstein's monster a complete, for lack of a better word, I apologize, cuck. I'm sorry. Just, oh my. Yeah.
And the whole him and the bride stuff was great,
Oh. The bride is a fascinating character. That is a great character. I'm sorry, but when you can make Weasel a sympathetic character, bravo, good sir. Bravo. Because you know which episode I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That was damn near heartbreaking. spoilers, people, but from the first time we saw him in the Suicide Squad, I was like, yeah, he ate 26 kids. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Our boy rescued 26 kids, but dude, it was hardly any words spoken in that episode. It was all Weasel, and by the end of it, you're like, I will defend Weasel. I will defend Weasel. So good. And anytime I get to hear Alan Tudyk's voice as a completely SOB, Dr. Phosphorus. Dude, that one scene where you get about where he's flipping the bird as the tank or it was a tank or the truck is coming through him, and he's flipping, and the truck just melts around him and his middle finger. Bravo. That was peak animation right there is what that was.
Yeah, we'll know July 11th when Superman comes out. We'll have to do a special episode.
Yeah, I know. With our luck, we'll be talking about it when it's released on digital DVD. But real quick, Richard, we're probably going to wrap this up real soon. Yep. Anything else randomly, Richard, you've been watching or reading that you would like to?
No, but I do want to throw out about the Zine Fest that I'm going to. I'm going to in April. I've been making a bunch of zines. If you follow me on my Facebook, you've seen me post a bunch of stuff. I'm going to have like 4 brand new zines available. The first one I'm going to be at is the Detroit Zine Fest, which is April the 5th, and I'll have links up on my Facebook, or if you follow me, how to get to the place. It's up in Detroit, and it's going to be really cool because this is my first time at this show, and I've heard this is pretty cool, and I'm really happy that I was accepted because I'm going more art instead of a UVN at this show. And
which I am so happy for you, man. I really am.
Yeah, this should be interesting to see. And then Space, the annual one we've been going to since like 2009, or I should say UVN. I'm going as me this year again, like I did last year. I'll have all my zines available, and that is the end of April, on April the 26th and 27th down at Columbus at the it's on the fairgrounds, the state fairgrounds. They're moving things around a little bit at the Road Center this year, so it should be interesting to see. And I'm going to have all my books out, and like I said, I was working earlier, the one I showed that I was trying to share the screen by accident, and that's my Action Ant episode that I'm trying to put together.
You can't lie to me. I know what was going on. I know subliminal messaging, Rick. I know subliminal messaging. I got a con coming up, new book, and that you should really come out and see new book. And
yeah, it's like I have a new issue, the 16th episode or issue of Cosmic Zoos available, and it's a little personal this year because it's got basically 3 pages from a journal of mine, and then some of my crazy art, and then I've been starting to do monotype again. I set up a little monotype with a light board and the plexiglass plate, and I can draw and ink and stuff in my own studio. Yeah. Something like what I was doing at Ohio State when I was down there in class for the printmaking comic book class. So hopefully I'll be getting that up and this, not as messy, and I can get some more prints of that done. And looks like I'll probably be expanding and trying to get some actual prints and stuff available of my art for sale at these shows too. Probably will miss the April 5th show at Detroit, but hopefully by Space, maybe I can get some made and maybe have them available and stuff like that. So,
well, I'm thinking about, because we're getting ready to wrap it up. Speaking of cons and moving, some big news in the local con world. Jesse announced the moving for the venue for Gem City Comic Con this year.
Yeah. They're down, or I don't want to say down. They're moving it to the hotel across from the University of Dayton, the Marriott, I think, off the top of my head. And that'll be like July 19th and 20th weekend. So
definitely check out the Gem City website or their Facebook page for more information. Mixed feelings about it. I think it's a smart move. Regardless of where it's at, Gem City will always be Gem City.
And it's all about comic books. I mean, that's what this show is so great about. This is a true comic book show and spotlighting creators in the area and actual sale of comic books. So
yes, but I will give a shout out. What there were 2 words in his post that really resonated with me, Richard. Free parking.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that garage. Not.
I know. No. What I hate, Richard, is even after all these years of going down there and parking in the same parking garage, just when we had a break in the weather when it was actually nice, finding out that if I'd have gone 2 blocks farther where our parking garage is, one of the greatest toy stores I've ever been to in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
And it had my name on it. It was like Mike's Toy Store. Literally, Richard, you pass by the parking garage, you go through 2 intersections of the little cobble road. I parked the car and walked the entire street 20-some years, or, for as long as it's been there. I was angry at myself, Richard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, I'll send you pictures. Oh, yeah. But, yeah, definitely check that out. Speaking of checking things out, Richard, I feel rusty. I haven't done this in a while. Give me a moment here. Speaking of checking things out, Richard, where can the fine folks that are listening and or watching he already had it, my man.
Yeah, just go over to UVN.plus. That's where you'll find our main website, or undergroundvideonetwork.com. Both works and points you to that location where you can find our video archive that goes all the way back to 2002. We've been doing this for a couple years, and since you love the independent stuff, you can go over to our space lineup and find all interviews, panels, and everything we've been doing forever. See all our friends and creators. So just check it out, or just find our Facebook page and go through the links there.
So we have on Richard Ketterjohn and myself, Mike Boroff. Thank you so much for watching, listening. Oh, God, Richard, don't make me do this. Please, if you like the show, hit like and subscribe. Oh, I felt my soul being sucked out just saying those words. But I do love saying this, though, Richard. Richard, would you kindly please press the button?